Hey guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video I've got a bunch of new stuff, mostly from Maybelline, but I have a few little places where I'm going to fill in the blanks with other things. But I was going to just sit here and play with the stuff and try it on for the first time because it literally just came in the mail yesterday. And I personally am really more of a fan of like a formal review, you know, after something's been tried for a while. But I still thought it would be really fun to turn on the camera while I tried things out. So what I will do is pay very close attention to your comments, and if there are things here in this video that you want an additional, like more in-depth, like test it for a couple weeks type deal and then come back and review it for us, if you want that on something, then let me know. But I will take you with me as I do some check-ins throughout the rest of the day as well. But we're gonna start out with a new primer. This says Master Prime, Hydrate and Smooth. So a lot of brands have hydrating primers. I mean, this seems to be packaged almost exactly like Smashbox's is, but NYX has a good hydrating one, e.l.f. does too, so I'm just gonna get some of this out and see how it goes on. I've already moisturized my skin. This feels nice. I had actually just been using NYX's hydrating primer a little bit, and this feels definitely a little thicker than that. This could be a really nice thing for dry skin folks. It's really smoothing out easily, but it's not one of those like silicone-y, smooth, silky primers. Like the skin just feels supple, like I've double moisturized or something. Then they were releasing this as new, and it says Superstay Full Coverage. And I don't know if that's a change from the original Superstay formula. It's been years since they first put out Superstay. Like, I'm thinking back to earlier days on my channel when that actually first released. And I'm always tempted to twist, but it's not a twist off, it's a pump. And I picked up the shade Warm Nude. So let's just get about a pump and a half here going on. It does seem a little bit yellowy right now. I'm going to use this brush from Tarte to buff it out. This is from the holiday set that they're selling at Sephora. Okay, the coverage is better than I ever remember with this foundation. Wowza. Okay. And it's setting, I think, kind of quickly, so I better move here. I don't ever recall this foundation being quite this good. Like, I remembered it being a lot like a Revlon Color Stay, which is good, but as you may have seen when I recently used that, I think that's more medium coverage, you know. I think that normal to dry formula can actually be rather buildable, but this is like, this is pretty dang full coverage. This is giving me, I would say, nearly concealer optional skin. Like, I've got a little bit I might cover up there. At certain angles you can see it more than others, right? But like, that was good, and it's very matte, and I think I'm gonna be glad for as matte as it is and as fast as it's set. That's a sign that's telling me I'm probably gonna be glad that I used that hydrating primer, because sometimes, you know, foundations that really set in quick, they can tend to look a little more drying on your skin. So maybe it was no accident that they released the hydrating primer at the same time. Ah, coffee is perfect right now. See, right after it comes off the cure, it gets a little too hot for me, but now it's perfect. Now, one of the things I'm gonna sub in, since I did not see a new concealer from Maybelline on Ulta's website, I have the Urban Decay All Nighter Concealer. I know a lot of people are probably curious as to how this compares to Tarte Shape Tape. Both are full coverage, long wear concealers. I got the, sorry, I'm just making sure nothing's settling in an odd way there. I got the PR package, and so I have the whole shade range, and I've been kind of struggling to hone in on my correct shade of this. I've used light warm and fair neutral and light neutral. I think I'm going to go ahead and use light neutral today, but I'm not going to apply a whole lot, just really get it right in here where I'm darkest, because coverage wise, I mean, things were pretty well taken care of right by that foundation. But this can add a little bit of brightness. But this stuff I have been using for the last several days, and I've experienced good coverage and good staying power. There is kind of a, I don't know, it definitely does dry down. Like, if you're not a fan of that, if you need something that's more emollient and moisturizing, like, this is not a real hydrating concealer. But I can just notice it right away as I blend it in. Like, it's not even necessarily the kind of thing you would feel the need to set. But I feel like the tough thing about it is I'm pairing it on top of different foundations and different primers, moisturizers and stuff. I need to create some constants here. Maybe just test one side compared to the other versus Shape Tape, you know, so I can really pay attention to how the concealer itself is doing. To me, it seems like it's lacking just a little coverage compared to Shape Tape, just because I felt the need to go back and actually add a little more. This circle here. Even though it's not absolutely necessary, I have a new setting powder that I want to try. It's from Makeup Revolution, and it's the Luxury Baking Powder in Ghost. And I just want to try this and see if it's any good. But first, you got to outsmart that sticker over the sifter. I'm just going to tap a little bit of this in the cap here. So it's a totally white powder. This may be like their take on that like RCMA powder. I'm not going to do a full-on bake with this right now just because I really don't think it's necessary, but I'm going to use a little bit of the powder just for a light under eye setting. It's most definitely going everywhere, I can tell you that much. Whew, it's getting airborne. I will have to try this in the baking capacity and see if it looks as good as some of the other powders that I like, but it's definitely like ultra mattifying. So if you just even put it on lightly like I have right now, you'll look super matte. And I was already pretty matte from the foundation. Don't worry, we got a beast of a highlight coming up. But you know what? I don't have a bronzer, so I'm just gonna grab out some Laura Geller Bronze and Brighten. Haven't used this in a little while. Really love this bronzer. So I'll just take this around the hairline right quick. This is such a good bronzer. I like fall in love with it again every time after I use it. Next, for the blush, we're gonna be using actually a palette here. This is called the Pink Edge, the City Kits palette. And it's really, I don't know, kind of different when you look at the layout of the shades. Isn't it funny how like everything is coming right up to the surface? Like there's no dip down into the pans. It makes it look so different when it's packaged that way. But they had this color scheme and then they had something that seemed, from what I recall on the website, very like pastel, and it just didn't really appeal to me. This seemed like more of a full look. So I'm gonna use that blush there. We're gonna see how pigmented this is. Just swirl it a little bit on the outside there. This is kind of nice. I would say this is a matte blush and there's a lot of fallout when you go into it. Yes, I like that. Good color. But the tough thing is, as you can see, you are going to have this happening where you get fallout into the neighboring shades. So before you start digging into your next shade, it's probably best to kind of blow off or tap off the excess actually off of the palette itself. Otherwise, things will probably start to mix there. I'm not a big fan of blowing directly on makeup, but this is my personal palette, so that's what I'm gonna do. Now, what I think I'm gonna do is use the highlight provided here because I think this is gonna be a little bit more perhaps on the subtle side. And we'll see how that looks. And then I have this Master Holographic. And this, I just did like a little finger swatch of it the other day. I don't know if that's gonna be my jam, folks. It's glitter right here. Again, just a little light swipe of the brush picks up a lot. This I can deal with. Yes. Soft and pearly, very pretty. We're 2 for 2 from this palette. What do you do now when you're perfectly satisfied with your current highlight? You add more highlight. I've just got to try this for you guys because I'm so curious. It's so shiny. And if I do a swatch, this is what we're talking about. Like you can see kind of a purple, pinky, reflective quality to it. I'm not really seeing like the full spectrum, you know, to make something holographic. Am I really seeing like any sort of bluish or greenish shift to that? It's mostly, from what I can tell in this lighting, kind of a pinky shift, but we'll see here. I'm picking some up on the brush, tapping off the excess. It seems chunky loading up on the brush, but we'll just put it on here, and I always say you gotta buff a little bit with certain highlights. It's certainly like intense, but I'm seeing kind of a glitter trail. Like, I don't know, looking up close at it, as you really buff on it, some of that stuff just like fades away into the air. But it is just coming off as, I would say, slightly pinky. It's like a brightened light pink undertone. Do the other side. It's like when you first swipe it on, you're gonna see some chunk. Chunkiness. I'm in such direct lighting here, it's almost hard to see the highlight show as much as it could, but it's the kind of thing you gotta check your shirt after. Be like, do I have highlight or dandruff down there? I'm not blown away by that one, gotta say. Gonna do a little setting mist. I did get a new one here that I wanted to try from Garnier, and it's the Soothing Facial Mist, 99% naturally derived ingredients, vegan formula, made with rose water. Okay, so I'm gonna try that out here. The maiden voyage of a new setting spray is always a little scary. You're like, brace for it. But sprayer on this is kind of funky. Maybe I can go a little closer. Like, no, that only hit my forehead. What? See, this is the trial and error I go through before I shoot a video usually. I'm just not narrating it. I got a new brow product. This is the Total Temptation Brow Definer, and I got it in medium brown. So let's pop this puppy out and see what kind of shape we're working with. The Total Temptation line, by the way, seems to be, they also have this shadow and highlight palette, which I think for consistency in this video, I'm gonna stick with the pink edge for the rest of my shadow, but there's also this palette. Let me know if you're interested. It's highlighters actually here, and then shadows, and just judging by initial swatches, this one seemed more impressive to me. And they're also making a Total Temptation mascara. But back to the brow thing here. Ooh, we've got, yeah, sort of you see how it's kind of that teardrop shape, but it's more of a petite teardrop. It seems smaller than others. And then look at the size of the spoolie. What? Like, it's teensy. It's just, I don't know. I guess that's gonna work. I've never seen a spoolie that small before. All right, whatevs. Bring it on, tiny spoolie. Hold me closer, tiny spoolie. What is this doing anyway? Let's get some texture of this. Is kind of like dry, which I do tend to like. When you hold it more going for the tip, look at how fine the line can be. It can just be teeny tiny hair-like strokes. When you're using it more to get the full-on surface area of that teardrop shape, you're gonna get thicker. However, you're inevitably gonna wear down the fine part of the tip, you know, with time. Always something to be aware of with these sort of shaped brow products. But the color is on point for me. I don't hate it. I feel like it did the job pretty quick, and I still had a lot of control. Little spoolie doing its job. Do your thing, spoolie. Okay. I don't know why. This kind of excites me. I've only had like one sip of coffee yet today. Oh, another new thing that I found, you guys, in Walmart was the Kiss brow stamp. I think it's Kiss that makes it, but it's a brow stamp, and I was thinking it was literally like an inky kind of stamp, but it's like a powder. You know, it's a sponge that you're dipping into a pretty, you know, rich colored powder, and then you can stamp it on. And it has virtually no effect, it seems like, with my brows, because my brows are just so dark and are pretty shaped, you know, anyway. Like, I just have a lot of natural brow. I was thinking, this could be a really bad parenting decision, or maybe this could be awesome, but I was thinking, I don't even know if I want to say this out loud, but should I do the brow stamp on Belle or Eve? Or both, maybe. Just to see. I mean, it would wash right off, right? Or am I just opening up the floodgates to all sorts of crazy makeup application on those two? I can hear the comments now. Just let them be kids. Don't put makeup on them. What if it's just for my own entertainment value? What if I've just had a really hard day and I want to stamp some brows on my children? Is that so wrong? I hope y'all have a sense of humor today. Okay, here we go. Of course you do. Just using my tiny spoolie here. Tiny spoolie's the real MVP here. I feel a lot of control with that situation. I feel very safe with the little spoolie. Now I just need a little gel. The thing about when you're using a really dry pencil, there's gonna be virtually no hold in your brows. So my brows need a little something. So I'm using this OG CoverGirl gel here, which I don't even love. I mean, it's so loaded with product. You take it out and it's super goopy, but I don't have any of the NYX Control Freak on me at the moment, so. Also gonna need to pull in a little eyeshadow primer. I'll just use Milani. I have so many brow strokes on my hand, I'm like turning into a bit of a werewolf over here. Okay, so our little pink edge palette. This is the way it claims to be laid out. Okay, blush highlight, we've got that, and then it says look 1 over here and look 2 over here. I hadn't even noticed that till I really paid attention to the back. I don't know if we'll really play by those rules today, but we'll see. I'm gonna do a little mauve crease action here because I like mauve creases. These are like a really nice softness to these shadows. It's really, yeah, applying nicely and applying very true to color in a quick way. You know, not a lot of fussy buildup. A little fallout, but the fallout, at least on that shade, is not as ridiculous as it was with the blush or the highlight. Might just be the brush that I'm approaching it with though, you know, like a smaller brush isn't gonna necessarily create as much, but I'm still tapping off excess, just FYI. And now I feel like I want to go even more with that same shade and just build it some, like take it out more, get it going a little more dramatic style here. It's a really pretty shade. And I love that it just didn't turn to like murky whatever color on my eyes. Like you can really see that mauviness, the pinkiness in this. Okay, next I gotta see what this shade's gonna do. Is this plum gonna actually show up with some color as well? Just pat that on the outside here. Are you ready for some plum, everybody? Because it's coming at you. This is good. This feels nice. I think we got a good like matte and shimmer balance happening in here. They do have a matte cream color. There's a shimmery like rose gold in there as well, which I'm kind of tempted to put on my lids. Now I'm just blending. I don't really have anything on my brush here, but I'm sort of blending between the mauve and the plum in the crease. And then I think we'll use this matte creamy color as a highlight. Very nice. And now I think we got to see what the rose gold is made of. So I'm going to tap into that. I've been really disappointed with shimmery shades lately from certain palettes, so this is doing pretty good though. There's just a little dryness to it. I don't think it's really hurting the color payoff too much, but it looks pretty, I think, alongside the other colors. So you see what I mean? Like I keep going back, adding a little bit more and more of that, and I'm gonna see what this color does brightening wise just around the inner corner. See, that's kind of nice. The mattes are really smooth and nice in here. Now I got two Lasting Drama liners, and they're more like kind of statement type liners, like accessory liners, not really something you're gonna necessarily use to define your upper lash line. But I got Moonlight Purple and Shiny Bronze. I'm gonna swatch them both, although I think I'm gonna use the Shiny Bronze with this look. I have had really good luck with Maybelline's retractable liners in the past, so I'm excited. Okay, the caps look promising. I really like the caps. I thought this Shiny Bronze was gonna look more taupey, I guess. Both very metallic, and they had some different shades. I think they had some deeper colors too. I don't know, now I do kind of want to use that Moonlight Purple a little bit more. I think I'm going to use it on my lower lash line. It goes on like absolute butter. Really nice. And I think what I'll end up doing is I'll put something kind of brightening in my lower inner rim and maybe smudge over the outer part of this with some of the shadow in here. Oh, that's better. This is my Wet n Wild Ultimate Brow Highlighter, by the way. You wouldn't think a brow product would be great in your lower inner rim, but this stays well. It's the perfect tone for me, so yes, all about it. Now this tone we got working on the lower lash line, a little more cool and practically bluish, especially compared to the mauves up top. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this plum and kind of overlap the outside and maybe help it make sense a little bit more with everything else. Like still let a little bit of it pop on the inside, but you know what I'm saying, I'm kind of going between both of these. I'm going to use the Total Temptation mascara, so I am not putting any liner on my upper lashes because that's how we can best see what it's doing. And this I have used a few times. Like, it was one of those situations where my Ulta order came in 2 different boxes. Like, one box came on, what was it, Saturday, and then 2 days later the other came. And this came before all the other Maybelline stuff, which was odd. But the brush right here is really my cup of tea. It's thick with bristles, it's a little bit tapered toward the tip. It's, well, it's kind of on the big side, but it's not ridiculous, you know? I don't feel like I see good effects from this until I build it up with the second coat. Like, see how it's doing a little something here, and I'm not really mad about that, but it's more profound when I come back in just a couple seconds and add more. But I do get a little disappointed by the curl holding of this. I think Lash Paradise holds the curl better for me. But you know, I am curl challenged with my lashes. They want to be so straight. It looks to me like both Belle and Eve are getting the thickness and curl actually of their dad's lashes, but their hair color and the darkness of their lashes is coming from me. So that could be like a perfect lash storm right there. Well, now that I've used this a few times, it's building up like a little bit better than it did on the very first application. Like when I first put this on, it just seemed to kind of slip through the lashes, you know? Now it's clinging a little better. But once I go back and I add more over here, then I can see more length and more thickness start to build with coat number 2, which is not really surprising probably to anybody, but it's just a little different for me because with Lash Paradise, that stuff was, you know, va-va-voom usually with one coat. Now what I have not yet tried with this mascara is doing lower lashes, so just for the heck of it, I'm gonna put a little bit of this down there, and we'll just see if this smudges off throughout the day. I kind of like the shininess of that liner sort of peeking through. I used to have a really good liner from Maybelline, and it was like the perfect, oh no, you see what happened there? Specks. My gut tells me like, wipe them off immediately, but I know you need to let those dry and then they'll flake off. Okay, let's see. Oh, they're not really flaking off. They're just kind of blending into my skin and looking slightly dark. I'm not layering on more concealer. I'm just gonna take a little more ghost powder and see if that can save me here. Yeah, I don't know, it's fine. We're just playing, okay? We're just trying things out, having a little playtime. It's no big deal. The lip options are vast here. I'll tell you what I was playing with last night. They have something called a powder matte lip, and I have Cruel Ruby. I put this on last night. It's dry as can be. It is like almost a powdery matte finish. Like, it feels dry to lick your lips, and it's just, I guess the benefit from this might be that there is absolutely no appearance of shine on your lips. But it's not a real smooth application, and I wasn't that wowed by the staying power of this either. I love Maybelline's regular matte lipstick formula. Just judging by the website, this was the only shade of the powder mattes that really appealed to me, but not a formula I'm really into. Please try to pick up the cat food.
I'm gonna get it over lunch.
The other lip thing that I got, these. Did I not call this? And some of you have already tweeted me and you're like, they did come out with nudes. I said these Superstay Matte Inks are probably gonna release like a whole line of neutrals because they only had like one nude in the whole bunch before. So I got Amazonian, which looks to be kind of like a brownish shade. It looked like sort of a rusty brown on the website. And then I got Poet, which seems to be a straight up nude, like a little bit peach. And then they've got this Python metallic lip kit. I'm kind of tempted to try this, although I don't know that the color of it would look that great with what I've got going on my look today. Like, I really would rather wear one of those nude matte inks, but I'm just going to show you the packaging. It's a two-step thing where there's a lip color and then they say metallic powder. Well, let's just open it up and see. Again, I'm really going to be referring to the comments section as far as what things you really want to know more about, or, you know, see another look with, or whatever. But here it is. This is the lip color. Feels creamy, feels just like, I don't know, very classic red cream lipstick. Not especially matte, it feels like a cream. And then this powder, gosh, it feels like just a really creamy eyeshadow there. It's definitely somewhere between a cream and a powder. It's not a pure powder, like it's not a powder that's gonna make fallout or anything, but if you dab them together, you do end up getting a little bit of a sheen on there. Let's add a little bit more. You know, I see it happening. It's kind of cool. I haven't tried it on my lips yet, so I'm not gonna fully judge this one. And see, my lashes are falling so bad. And they're still drying, good Lord. I didn't realize the dry time was this intense there. Like the length is not awful, but man. Okay, let's pick one of these. Let's see. This would probably be most appropriate with my look, but I'm really curious about this brownie kind of color, so maybe we'll combine the two. I love the matte ink formula, by the way. These smell a little more coconutty than I remember. Did they smell like coconuts before? And now before that gets really dried, I think what I'm gonna do is just dab a little bit of this lighter shade into the center of the lip. That's a pretty look. I am really glad that they put out some more neutral shades. I think it really completes the line, you know, in terms of these, because they had bright reds and different kind of fuchsia colors. I'm excited to have these two. I may explore those even more because I know it's a great formula. It's like comfortable, thin, staying power is really intense with those. So a nice drugstore matte lip option. Just kind of looking over what else I have here. I mean, I was really impressed with both of these. The primer was nice. It was very hydrating, I thought. More so than my NYX primer, and perhaps even felt a little thicker than my Smashbox hydrating primer. And then this Superstay Full Coverage like came to play today. I mean, this was really truly full coverage. You can see on my skin, it's just really giving me nice even coverage. We'll see how well that wears, because you know, as you can see now, I'm very matte. I also did add to the matteness with a little Urban Decay concealer, which we can also keep an eye on, and the Makeup Revolution Ghost Powder. I was really pretty impressed by this pink edge kit. I thought the blush was nice, the highlight was beautiful, these berry shades in here were really, really good. Excited to get some more use out of these liners because I think that's gonna be a fun little step, and they went on so easily, and they do set. The swatches are not going anywhere on my hand. And they're not even flaking off any shimmer, even though these are really metallic, shimmery eyeliners. The holographic highlight, I definitely prefer what was in this palette for my taste. Still need to try the Total Temptation palette. The mascara is a miss for me. The brow product was all right. I am going to continue using that. And the mascara, for the record, still does not feel dry. I'm doing this to see if, you know, as you kind of hold your lashes in place as they dry, if I can get a little more curl like working in there. But I'm fascinated by the fact that the mascara has still not dried. And I only put on 2 semi-light coats. Like, I've caked up mascara more than that before, that's for sure. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little makeup playtime here. Again, I would have just done this and not even turned the camera on as I'm trying these things out initially, but maybe this was fun to watch. Let me know if you liked it, and I will see you again very soon. Bye. Just a little check-in here, mainly for the sake of the foundation. It's looking really good. I think overall on most of my face, it's maybe looking just a hair more lived in, if you know what I mean. Like, you can see just a hint of glow there on the nose. We'll call that glow, but maybe, you know, just a hint of oiliness. But it's nothing bad. Everything still looks even. Nothing looks really patchy. I can see a little dryness, like maybe a bit around my eyebrows. Maybe I didn't moisturize as well as I could have in that area. But overall, I think it's looking really nice. But I gotta tell you, in like broad daylight, that holographic highlight is a bit much. I can totally see the glitter in that, and I don't like seeing how it's drifted to other parts of my face. So as expected, that's kind of a no-go. The lower liner is still looking fierce, and the eyeshadow looks good too. And the lip color has hung in through a slice of leftover pizza and the pears that Little Bit didn't eat. So there we go. Okay, we are looking at the makeup now after, gosh, what is it? 11, 12 hours, somewhere in there. I think it's actually wearing quite well. I'm seeing a lot of evenness, maybe just a little breakdown around the nose. It's definitely a little shinier than it was like at midday, but overall looking pretty good. The wear of the eyeshadow is quite good as well. You can have the ghost sticker, that's fine. The lip color is because it's a neutral shade, even as it wears down just slightly, it's not super obvious, so I like that. But yeah, I'd say I'm pretty impressed this go round with the foundation, and I'll continue experimenting with it, maybe some different primers, different application methods, and yeah, I will follow up on that. One thing I will throw in here, just in reference to the concealer, I was looking up really close at it, and it may or may not be showing on camera here, but it definitely does look kind of dry. It's not awful, but it's a little more dryness than I'm used to seeing, and I have noticed a little bit of this in previous days, whether I've used any kind of setting powder on top of it or not. It has the dry down, and then it can continue to look a little dry, and you're definitely still seeing that pesky glitter from the highlight too. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.